This video is for anyone out there that is thinking of or in the process of currently applying for an H1b, an E3, or any kind of green card application related to an employment situation. The prevailing wages have gone up. Not only have they gone up, but they have gone up astronomically just in the last couple days. Watch this video to get all the information that you need to know if you're one of those people or you're an employer that is trying to get one of those visas for one of your employees. Hi, and thank you for joining me to talk immigration. My name is Andrea Chev, and I'm the managing attorney at Chev Law Group in Los Angeles, California. I've been doing immigration for almost 20 years now, and I put together tons of videos for you to give you all the latest information on all types of immigration issues that come up on a daily basis, especially now with everything going on. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you want to do it right now. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell right next to it so you get notified every time a video comes out. And I release them at least weekly, if not more, so you don't want to miss them. And don't forget to also follow me on Instagram and Facebook so you can get all the latest information as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Okay, let's get into exactly what happened with these prevailing wages. But before we do that, let me step back just a little bit to give a little bit of context to what is these prevailing wages that we're going to be talking about. So every time any of you out there, especially employers, because those are the ones who are going to initiate these applications, apply for an H1b visa or an E3 visa or any kind of employment-based type application to get permanent residency, you have to get approval from the Department of Labor that the wage that you're offering the foreign national is at a certain level. And that level is the prevailing wage. So if you're trying to offer someone a job and get them a visa, you need to make sure you pay them this amount, and you have to file something with the Department of Labor stating this is how much I'm going to be paying for this particular job. And these prevailing wages are listed on the Department of Labor website, which I'll put right below so you can look them up yourself. And every single job out there, in categories, of course, so not every single job title, because every company has different titles for different jobs, but every single category of a job has actually prevailing wages listed, and they're broken down by level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, because if you're coming on an entry-level position or a level 1 wage, which just doesn't require a lot of experience, you're not going to be required to pay as high of wage as someone who has, let's say, 15 years of experience and a PhD in that, and so on and so forth. So they're broken down by levels. So you can go to this website and put in what state you live in or what state the job is in, and then it gets broken down by the county in that state, and then it gives you basically the prevailing wages on different levels for that particular type of position. But remember that the job actual wages will differ across the United States depending where you live, because states and counties that have higher cost of living will have higher prevailing wage requirements. So when you put in the information, you're putting the information for the state and county where you will be working or where the employer you're trying to petition will be working, and that will determine the prevailing wage that you must pay them. Now, this video is not going to go into all the intricacies of how you determine a level 1 wage versus 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth, but I just wanted to give you some context or an overview of what is this prevailing wage that actually skyrocketed just a couple days ago. So, this prevailing wage was put into place to protect U.S. citizen employees against paying foreign nationals that are coming on these visas or through permanent resident programs less than what a U.S. citizen was being paid. Now, I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, and I will tell you I've worked with employers all across the United States in different cities, in different areas, and different types of jobs, and all different kinds of, areas across the United States. And I will tell you that the actual wages that are listed by the Department of Labor on this website that are used as a baseline to find prevailing wage are not usually very accurate. They're either too high or too low, but very rarely hit on or spot on of what the industry is paying this particular person in this particular city in this particular job. So it has always been off. But now what's happened is the Department of Labor just overnight, with giving no warning at all whatsoever to not only the businesses, the American businesses that are hiring or plan on hiring or already have hired H1b or E3 employees, they have now given them no warning, and they have now quadrupled, I mean, sometimes even more, the actual required wage. So if they're in the position now, nothing's going to happen. But if they're looking to renew the H1B or the E3, or they're looking to possibly get new H1B E3 employees, this is going to affect them. And it happened overnight. It happened from one day to the next. On October 7th, they announced that they were going to increase them, and it was going to be put into effect October 8th. So there was absolutely no warning for anyone to make any comments or discussions about how this will affect anything, and if this is fair, or it makes sense, or if it's going to hurt the US economy. There was absolutely no discussion. It went from one day to the next, and the wages requirement went up. Now, what kind of wage requirements are we talking about? Like, what kind of increases are we talking about? Because I know I'm saying here they went up astronomically. Well, what does that mean? I'm going to give you a few examples. So I went in and I looked at just a few. I mean, I looked at hundreds really over the last couple days, so I can get an idea of really how high they went up. So let me just give you a few examples. So an electrical engineer in San Jose before October 8th, a level 1 wage was making about $88,712, according to the Department of Labor. So that was the prevailing wage for that particular job, level 1, as of October 7th. October 8th, that level 1 wage went up 43% to $127,042 and $42. So it went up 43% in one day. Okay, so if you had an employee that was at the prevailing wage doing exactly what you were supposed to do, paying them, let's say, $89,000 a year, if you try to renew them tomorrow, you're going to have to increase their wages to over $127,000. Okay, that's an example of one. A public relations manager in LA was at $39,567 if they're in LA County as of October 7th. October 8th, now it's at $57,450. So if you're paying them, let's say $40,000, now you have to be paying them $58,000 to be able to qualify under the prevailing wage. Another example, for example, is market research analyst in Los Angeles went from $42,000 to about $60,000. And then there is a lot of positions on the Department of Labor website, if you go in and look, that they don't even have like the breakdown of levels because there's not enough data available for them, they say, to come up with level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they basically say it should be probably at a minimum. For example, for advertising and promotions managers, it was $94,390 was a level 1 wage. And now they took out all the levels because they don't have enough data. And they're saying now that you have to pay them around $208,000 a year. So from $94,000 to $208,000. That needs to be figured out. It's ridiculous. So we're talking about huge increases across the board. So a lot of you out there that are watching this video are thinking, well, isn't that a good thing? Because maybe the wages before were way too low. Maybe the U.S. employees or the U.S. companies were getting away with murder by paying these foreign nationals too little, that the prevailing wages needed to be adjusted. So a lot of you watch this video are probably thinking that. Well, this probably was just so outdated that they needed to do this. Well, let me tell you something. I have worked, like I said before, I've worked with tons of companies across the United States, and I will guarantee you, if they do the right thing and they're following the rules, which all of my clients do, and a lot of people out there do. Of course, there's some people that don't follow the rules and don't do things properly, and they need to be fixed. But the people that do, and the companies that do, will look at you in the eye and tell you that a lot of these wages were already over what they should be. So now, if they were already over, what are they now? So let's step back and look at how this affects the economy. How does this affect American businesses? How does this affect you out there as a U.S. citizen employee that's looking for a job, or a foreign national that was already on an E3 or hoping to get an E3 if you're Australian, or an H1b? Well, I'll tell you how it affects it. So if you're sitting in a company right now, a big company, I'm not going to name any names, but a large company, you have to make sure that your jobs and the wages that are paid on those jobs are somewhat level, right? You can't have one person that's, let's say, a software engineer sitting here that's a US citizen with the same amount of experience as the H1b employee that's sitting right next to them, a software engineer with the same amount of experience, paid two separate salaries. You can't have one being paid $125,000 and the other one being paid $150,000, right? Because what's going to happen? The one that's paid the $125,000 is going to be like, excuse me, I have the same experience, the same job title, and the same duties as this person. Why are they making $40,000 more than I'm making? So it's not gonna work, and you can see where this is going. It's going to huge discriminatory lawsuits that are going to be charged against the companies for why are you paying foreign nationals more than you're paying me? Now the answer to that question is, oh well, why shouldn't it be like that, right? You're thinking, why shouldn't we have to force the U.S. citizen salaries to go up to match the foreign nationals? Well, if the Department of Labor's wage rates, their prevailing wage rates, were really, really solidified against what the industry standard is across the United States in different counties and different cities across the board, then I would say, yeah, then maybe we should. But the Department of Labor wage rates are not always indicative of what the industry standard is for every single job in every single area across the United States, changing and modifying based on industry, based on city, based on cost of living, everything. It is not indicative of that. So now we're going to have these huge discrepancies that are going to be caused, which are going to hurt not only the US citizens because they're going to be paid possibly less than the H1Bs coming in, but it's going to hurt the companies because the companies are now going to have these huge things, or they're going to have to level off the field and raise significantly the U.S. citizen salaries to meet the foreign national salaries, even though the industry across the board is not even, logical to do. It's not even logical to do this. They're going to force them to do it because if not, there's going to be huge lawsuits that are brought against these companies for discriminatory hiring and discriminatory pay, that one is being paid a lot more than the other. So these issues are all going to come up, and what's going to happen is these companies are then going to be forced to stop hiring. But the problem is, and if many of you have watched my videos in the past about H1Bs and the whole program and modifying the rules of the program, you will know that I scream at the top of the mountain how badly we need these employees. These are not people that are doing jobs that we could fill with US citizens. I guarantee you that. And this is just another reason why I guarantee you that, because it is a nightmare. It is so much work and money and time for U.S. businesses to try to hire E3 employees, H1B employees, or get permanent resident status for foreign nationals. It is extremely costly, and it's extremely hard for companies to do this. So if they had a choice, believe me, they would not be doing it. So that is just a matter of fact that you can see that the U.S. companies are in need of these employees. They're in need of these foreign nationals to fill these jobs, because if they had U.S. citizens that could fill these jobs, they would not be going after foreign nationals to fill these jobs. So what's going to happen to these U.S. companies? They're going to throw their hands up and they're not going to know what to do, because they can't increase salaries by 50% across the board in their companies just overnight and think that that's going to work. So they're going to have to figure out, what do they do? Because they don't have U.S. citizens to fill these jobs. They can't now afford foreign nationals, because if they hire these foreign nationals at this astronomical, nonsensical wages, and then have to force then all the U.S. citizens that are working for their company wages to go up to match that, they're going to go out of business. It's not going to work. So what's going to happen to these companies? They're going to have to start laying off employees. They're going to have to start closing. They're going to have to start going offshore, and hire people in other countries to work in other countries, which is not going to help the U.S. economy or U.S. anything. So the whole thing does not make sense. It was not thought out. It doesn't make any sense for the U.S. economy. It doesn't make sense for anyone as a U.S. employee. It doesn't make sense for U.S. businesses. It doesn't make sense across the board. Now, what does this mean for everyone out there? Businesses in the U.S. and employee foreign nationals that are either looking to do H1Bs or E3s or already on them. Well, if you're in the process or you're thinking about it right now at this moment, you're stuck with what we have. because nothing's going to change. But I will tell you, as of October 8th in the morning when this happened, already U.S. businesses and the American Immigration Lawyers Association and other organizations are already getting ready to fight the fight against this change. And hopefully it will either be reversed or it'll be modified in the coming months. But for now, it is what it is, unfortunately, and we're going to have to work with it. But I really hope desperately that the government and the people that make these decisions open their ears and their eyes and see how much harm it would cause if this moves forward, and how it will not be beneficial to not only U.S. citizen employees, it will be not beneficial to our economy and actually our recovery from this horrific pandemic that we're in right now. This is not the time to limit having the best and the brightest coming into this country. It is not the time to force the best and the brightest out of our country. It is time to embrace foreign nationals that are bringing so much to our economy right now that we're in desperate need of. It is not the time to block them out. And I really hope that the government hears that. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for hanging in there with all the craziness that's going on in immigration. I will do my best to keep you as up to date as possible. I know that in the coming weeks, there's going to also be major changes to the H1b program that I will come out and I'll talk about once those are solidified. But that's a whole nother video, a whole nother ball game. So I just wanted to focus on what is actually the fact now, which is the prevailing wage increase. Please, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe right now, hit that bell, like the video if you like it, give me comments so I know what you're thinking out there. I would love to hear your stories, your thoughts on this, and how you think that things maybe should change, or what's going on out there. I would love to hear comments from all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining me, and look forward to talking to you next time.